Imagine trusting your parents with your home for a 6-month business trip, only to discover from a frantic neighbor's late-night call that your sister's in-laws have turned your living room into a 24/7 party venue. By the time you race back across continents, the locks are changed, your own family has conspired to give your house away, and you're left fighting strangers and relatives for the keys to your life. Hi, I'm Sarah. Today I'm going to read you the story of Rebecca, titled, I let my sister's in-laws live in my house while I was abroad. Then they changed the locks, and my sister said, you can rent an apartment. So I called the police and enjoyed their anger. Well, let's go. My name is Rebecca, and I'm 32 years old. I work for a big company with branches all over Europe, and my job is basically to travel around and check on these foreign offices. It sounds cooler than it actually is. Most of the time, I'm just staring at spreadsheets and sitting in boring meetings. I was assigned a 6-month business trip that would take me to 8 different countries. The company pays for everything, so I can't really complain. But 6 months is a long time to be away from home. I live in a nice house I bought 3 years ago. It's nothing fancy, but it's mine, and I love it. When you're gone for half a year, you can't just leave it empty. So I asked my parents, Margaret and David, both 58 and retired, if they could keep an eye on the place. Mom used to be a teacher. Dad worked in construction. They're good. People just a bit dramatic sometimes. I also have a younger sister, Jessica, who's 28 and married to Mark, an accountant. Jessica's always been the favorite child. Prettier, more social, better at keeping Mom and Dad happy. When I asked about house sitting, Mom said, of course, honey. We'll take care of everything. Just give us the spare key. I promised to bring them amazing gifts from Europe, handed over my house key, and went over the basics. Water the plants, bring in the mail, run the water once in a while. Standard house-sitting stuff. I flew out to Frankfurt first. The work was fine. Checking books, reviewing procedures, writing reports. About 2 weeks after I left, Mom called. Your house is fine, she said, but we have a favor to ask. You remember Jessica's in-laws, Robert and Linda? They just moved to our city and need a place to stay until they find their own apartment. Could they stay at your place temporarily? My stomach dropped. Mom, I don't know, I said. That's my house. But they'd seemed decent at the wedding, and the house was sitting empty. Fine, I relented. But only temporarily, and I want them out before I get back. An hour later, Jessica called to thank me. This will help me get closer to Mark's parents, she said. Just make sure they understand it's temporary. I got busy with work. Weeks flew by as I traveled from country to country, and 2 months later, I got a call from Mrs. Patterson, my elderly neighbor next door. Rebecca, she said, your new tenants seemed decent at first, but now there are regular parties. At your house, almost every night? I even took photos and videos. My phone buzzed with images, loud music, guests trampling the lawn, garbage strewn everywhere. I immediately called Mom. Mom, the neighbors are complaining about Robert and Linda. She brushed it off. They're just making friends, she said, then hung up. I tried Dad, voicemail, then Jessica. She hung up too. Furious, I dove into my work as a distraction. But every night, I lay in a hotel bed imagining strangers, pawing through my belongings, so I hustled to finish my assignments 2 weeks early. Exhausted but determined, I texted Mom and Jessica. I'm coming home in 3 days. Get Robert and Linda out of my house by then. They both read the text but didn't reply. When I landed at the airport, jet-lagged and anxious, I grabbed a taxi and headed straight home. Pulling up the driveway, I saw cars parked everywhere. I tried my key, it didn't fit. The lock had been changed. I knocked and shouted for 5 minutes before Linda cracked the door, annoyed. We changed the locks for security, she said. You'll have to stay somewhere else. I couldn't believe it. Strangers were living in my house, and my own family had sided with them. I called Jessica, demanding Robert and Linda's number so I could confront them, but she refused. Finally, I left my suitcase with Mrs. Patterson and went to my parents' house, where I walked into an ambush. Mom, Dad, Jessica, and Mark sat around the living room as if at a family board meeting. They're family now, Dad said. They need your house while we save up $100,000 to help them buy one. I was speechless. My family had given away my home without even inviting me. I smiled coldly. Fine, I'll solve this on my own, I said. They looked relieved, thinking I'd cave. Instead, I stormed out. That night, Mrs. Patterson took me in. The next morning, I called the police. 2 officers arrived within 30 minutes. They knocked. Robert let them in. I showed them the new locks. You can't change someone else's locks without permission, Officer 1 told them. You're trespassing. Leave today or face arrest. Robert and Linda packed up immediately. I watched them go, then locked the door behind them for the first time in months. I called a locksmith to install new locks of my own, then hired a cleaning crew to repair the damage. A few days later, my family showed up at my doorstep, furious. Mom yelled, "You called the police on our family!" "They were squatting," I replied. "This is my house." Dad urged me to be reasonable. Jessica accused me of ruining her marriage. I held up my phone. "You all have 1 hour to get out of my house," I said. They left without another word. For months, I heard nothing from my family, and I was fine with that. I focused on work, rebuilt my life, and grew closer to true friends like Mrs. Patterson. Then, 2 months later, Mom called, fake sweet, asking to loan Robert and Linda $100,000 for a down payment. I laughed. They can get jobs or take out their own loans, I said. When she didn't back down, I hung up, then blocked every one of their numbers. Now, almost a year later, life is peaceful. I have my house back, a promotion at work, and friends who actually respect me. I sleep fine, knowing I chose loyalty to myself over a family that saw me as their personal problem solver. Blood doesn't make someone family. Respect and loyalty do, and my biological family had shown me they had neither.